Well, the days are growing longer here as we approach the racing season outside of the world of iRacing, but for the last couple of rounds, we're still in iRacing here for this virtual winter season in the Washington, D.C. region SCCA Virtual Racing League. This time, it's a trip back over the Atlantic to circuit Magny-Cours in France. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer, joined by Finney and Dakota, and despite all the wet weather earlier this week, it is a nice, partly cloudy morning here in Magny-Cours, France. 74 degrees in the air, 76 on the racetrack. A very pleasant day for racing with these Formula 4 cars. Finney, and welcome aboard for this 30-minute race.
Yeah, I'm sure for a lot of the drivers here tonight, they're going to be absolutely loving the weather tonight because quite literally everywhere else in the iRacing world, it is absolutely downpouring like a monsoon coming through. So these drivers are going to have perfect conditions for racing here. Nothing to worry about with wet weather, although honestly for the rest of the season might be something you have to consider. But qualifying here already underway with the slick tires on and drivers trying to push as fast as possible. The same drivers you typically see at the top: Andrew Plata, DJ Alessandrini, Kevin Zhu, and actually waiting on Ken O'Seal to get a time in to reach the top as well.
Yeah, fairly small grid here today, Finney, but this racetrack is so fun. I think everyone's missing out by not being here because this racetrack's so fast, so flowing with these Formula 4 cars. We've really seen this type of track be a lot of fun with these things. A lot of slipstreaming I expect in some parts of the racetrack, but you have to be precise in areas just like that at the first half of the lap. You're kind of slinging this thing between curbs at a couple areas, especially towards the end of the lap. You get some really exciting chicanes with lots of elevation change throughout it. It's just a blast to drive in any car that is up to the task, and these things certainly are. So we'll head down to the racetrack and get qualifying underway. Some drivers have already set times, as you pointed out, Finian, but it is Andrew Plata at the top, and as I say that, DJ Alessandrini immediately goes up to the point.
We return to normally scheduling scheduled programming with DJ Alessandrini up at the top, but it's pretty close. Andrew Plata in behind by just a little bit under a tenth of a second. A bigger gap back to Kevin Zhu, Adam Kovac, Albert No. Ken O'Seal actually just comes flying across the finish line, and actually he does not get a time in. He's on his third lap before, and has not put in a clean lap in the 23, so he's starting to run out of laps here to get a clean one in. But you mentioned for Circuit Magny-Cours, I think really a fairly underrated track. This track is really fun to whip a car around, and even to race to, it can be a little bit difficult in some sections, but when you can make a pass, especially in some of these corners, some of the hairpins, it is very satisfying.
Yeah, Jack Chrissy is heading down to the hairpin right now. It's one of your best passing opportunities on this racetrack. This next corner is one of my favorites. Can't remember what they call this corner. There's enough names around here, but this fast right-hand sling, big flat curbs you can use, almost all of them, even in the Formula cars, right there, right, left as Chrissy slings through. And then you have to set up for this challenging turning, curving, braking zone, decreasing radius corner, and there is what you're waiting for, the rear end to step out. And it's a blast to try to catch it. It stinks if you don't, but it's so fun if you do.
Yeah, this car suffers from a bit of off-throttle oversteer and just the back end free in general, so that's going to be one of the biggest struggles for a lot of these guys tonight, especially in the opening laps of cold tires, because it's a corner you want to try to push and get through well, but you really got to be careful with the turn-in on this part, because then it's so easy to loop that back part around. It's a very common mistake there.
So Jack Christy will burn up another lap trying to get a time on the board. Here's Richard Sawicki in the 5:28, getting up to speed. And Andrew Plata went up towards the top again, but Alessandrini put an even better time on the board, a 1:38.541. You mentioned Ken O'Seal. There is that car, brightly colored pink and blue, through the final chicane. Those last chicane curbs are evil. They will send you skyward. And Ken puts a 1:39.618, goes to third quick.
Yeah, finally on the board, up in third. Probably would like to be a little bit higher, and as Santa gets relegated back to fourth, as Adam Kovac in the 85, he goes just a hair faster than the 23 of Ken O'Seal. I saw Andrew Plata, he was working towards the finish line. He came across to start another lap. He's on his final flying lap. Is sideways to the first I think that's turn 2 or 3 actually. The long right-hander here, the snap of oversteer as he was heading on through.
Look at that big correction mid-corner. Twice he had to catch it. Still trying to get after it and go a tenth quicker, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen maybe on this lap. Jack Christy and Richard Sawicki still looking for times to put on board. Here's Richard setting up for the hairpin again. Long way around. And James Cathers just joined us as well. I don't think he'll get a lap in unless he loads in pretty quickly.
Let's see if he can execute. Actually loaded in and left.
Oh, so. Okay, never mind. So he won't get a lap.
So Andrew Plata, he's got to slow down on his lap, so I think he's not going to be able to execute any faster of a lap, so he's done for qualifying. Alessandrini, he's also hung up the helmet, so he's going to be done. And Kovacs going to be the next driver we look at. And
Retiring.
He's
hung up the helmet. He's done. That's it. He qualified pole and he quits iRacing forever. Here's Sawicki, as you pointed out, his way down to that fast right-left chicane at the tail end of the lap here. This one, it's kind of a blind entry, especially in such a lightweight, low formula car. Ken Ausiel knocks Kovac back to 4th. And Sawicki now entering this last sector. I love this part of the racetrack as well, especially this double right-hander leading to the final chicane, where you have to basically just split the difference between those curves or face ripping the carbon off your underbelly.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of drivers really try to cheat a bit in this final chicane, and it can definitely upset the car. I was just watching Albert Noe. He had headed through there not too long ago, and he went around for a loop after hitting the anti-cut curb on the exit.
So Sawicki, 11th quick. That'll be it for him, and Chrissy is on his last lap. Everyone else has put their times in, so I'd expect if everyone completes their laps, time expires, yeah?
Yes, in theory.
Ryan Carwile up to 5th. We've just got 5 minutes left in qualifying, where we'll turn it over for a 30-minute race. Now, we talked earlier about the rain coming to iRacing. For those that are just casual viewers and not necessarily participants or in the know about iRacing's major updates, every 3 months, iRacing has a quarterly update where they introduce new content and new features. And just yesterday, they launched the Tempest weather system, which has been years in the making and finally brings wet weather driving to iRacing. This car does have a wet weather tire, and it is rain racing enabled. And we will not see it tonight, but we could see it at a future round. So we have that dynamic variable now in play in iRacing, which has been done to a degree of detail that I can safely say has never been done before. Even Max Verstappen said that it's quite nice, is what his comments were about it.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's really encouraging because quite literally every single pro that's commented on it so far has said this is pretty, like, this, as far as race simulators and video games are concerned, this is the closest you're going to get to real life as you look at Jack Christie now work his way across the line. So very encouraging comments, and I got to say, just in general, realistic or not, it's just a lot of fun to whip these cars around in the rain. It's such a unique new challenge.
And for me, it wasn't even the fact that you can drive in the rain. That for me, that's secondary. I spend most of my time watching people race. So what I'm excited about is the dynamics that it brings to strategy and how drivers will have to adjust. And you can't just plan your race 5 days ahead. You have to really adapt to the conditions. So how would I know that you could do that? Because we did that, and it worked.
Yep. It worked down to the minute, or not even a minute, a couple seconds.
And as nice as that was, no one races like that.
No. Considering we don't have the cautions, definitely, especially for endurance racing, which the first, which all the IMSA cars that race on iRacing have it enabled for, and that's going to make every other endurance event involving sports cars for the rest of the year very exciting to watch and anticipate, because the rain could really shake things up.
Yeah, and not suggesting anything, but we do have Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps on our schedule at the tail end of the season, and if you know anything about Spa, you know it spends more time underwater than it does in sun, so I'm very excited to see the potential for that event in a couple weeks' time here. In the DC Region SCCA Virtual Racing League, again, Kyle Heyer joined by Finian D'Acuna, and tonight is round 6 of the season, and as far as our calendar is concerned, it's been an interesting, truly global series this time around. We spent a lot of time in the American borders in this championship, but not this time. We've got Mosport, Spa, and Circuit of the Americas that will round out this 11-round season. With the first, that was a non-points round all the way back at Charlotte. COTA will be fun as well. I love that racetrack. I didn't used to, but I've warmed up to it. I'm actually headed there this weekend. Every time I go...
I'm glad you finally warmed up to it.
Well, there's a lot of tracks that I just don't like. And, I'm going to get absolutely crucified for saying this, but VIR was one of those places. I just didn't understand it. And then I went and I did a track walk. I watched the racing there. I spent time there. And now it's one of my favorites in the country. So COTA was like that too. Every time I go, every time I watch racing, I just get stoked about it. I think it races great. I know drivers don't love driving it necessarily, but I don't know, I get a kick out of it. Big fan of that place.
I mean, it's definitely a very unique track, but more of a European feel compared to most other American road courses. But it's given itself its own unique identity after being showing action for now a little bit over a decade. So definitely going to be a fun track to go to, which may have a sprinkle of rain. We don't quite know. Again, with the weather forecasting, it's going to be kind of left up to fate for some of these routes, some of the next upcoming rounds. So drivers, they were given a little bit of a blessing this week, having it completely dry. They may need to get some practice, though, for the next upcoming rounds.
I think so as well. And also just getting practice on, once everyone figures out when and how to take the tires and how to apply them to the scenario, I think the chaos will go down and the strategy will go up. Right now, I think it's just a big chaos because everyone's just trying to figure
survival.
out. Yeah, well, you're just trying to figure out when do I put the tires on, because if you keep the slicks on one lap too long with a storm incoming, trust me, it's a bad time.
Well, right now, honestly, in iRacing, it's just a matter of survival of the fittest. When it comes to the rain, everyone's still trying to figure out how to take rain lines, how to kind of back it down a little bit, how to finesse it through the corner, and just figure, because every track's completely unique, and with the way the puddles form, you have to learn which parts of the track to take, and you have to completely reset your brain, because especially if you're, a person like me, who's almost exclusively used iRacing as a sim, you pretty much take the racing line every single time.
Yeah. Right, and that was one of the things. The first track I loaded up yesterday, trying out the new rain feature, was Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, because it is notorious for being very slippery. And the other thing it's notorious about is having areas of standing water that are inches deep. And one of those areas down by Madness, which is over heading into turn 9. And that's the only place I've ever seen Tom O'Gorman spin a car out. And it was there in the rain a couple of years ago. And it is an amazing recreation of the conditions at Mid-Ohio, so I'd have to trust that it's the same everywhere else. But qualifying is complete. Alessandrini will sit on pole for this one. Enough dilly-dallying. Let's get down to Magny-Cours and head out for a 30-minute race here on this racetrack. We're going to get this 15-car grid ready to roll in just a moment's time. One last look at the weather information. It's gone up a little bit as far as temperatures are concerned, but should still be pretty serviceable. And we will get a rolling start behind the safety car before we turn them loose. A little bit of time to get some temperature in the tires. How about a starting grid?
Yeah, I was going to say.
You and I literally said that at the exact same time. Here we go. DJ Alessandrini starts on the front row with the number 61. It's Andrew Pilata in the 96 who starts second.
Going back to row number 2, Ken O'Seal in the 23. Next in lineup is Adam Koback in the 85.
Starting in 5th, row 3, it's Jack Chrissy in the number 6. Light qualifying effort got him up to row 3. Ryan Carwile will roll off in 6th in the number 71.
Back in row 4, it's going to be Kevin Zhu in 7th in the number 2 car. Tal Sadiq next in the number 10 and 8th.
Albert No rolls off in 9th place in the number 181. And Francois Brou, kind of in home territory here, starts 10th in the number 69.
Nathan Brackman's going to be rolling off in the 5 in 11th place. Next to Richard Zwicky in the 528, rolling off in 12th.
And Louis Alessi starts 13th in the number 43 machine. And Robert Brunner starts 14th in the number 98.
Yeah, I'll round out your field of 14 drivers. Team Catherine's not in the server with us, so we'll have 14 drivers taking the start.
Unfortunately, James Catherine's not going to make it for us tonight. Waiting for the pace lap to begin. Everyone taking their time to get on the grid. Once we turn them loose, 30 minutes around here is about 19 laps. Lap times in the mid to high 130s range. But passing opportunities, the hairpin, top left of the screen, absolutely. The run from the last sector into the last chicane, you can kind of sneak up the inside there. Places that are challenging, that whole first sector, you're kind of slinging it through the chicanes and curves there. That's tricky to make a move up the inside there.
Yeah, it really is a tricky place to make a move. I'm curious to see where these guys are going to be planning to make their moves for this race. It's tough to make moves in these cars in the high downforce corners. Ideally, you want to wait for those heavy braking zones like the hairpin. Just at the end of this first sector, that is going to be probably the biggest passing opportunity where you see guys really utilize that long straightaway and use the slipstream.
And cars are rolling now, and tentatively, seems like.
Yeah, they're giving the pace car a little bit of space before they get going. There they go.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know. They've been doing that. Not quite sure why. So they're going to go a little bit. They're going to do some single file through the chicane.
Oh, right. They must have discussed this in the driver's meeting.
Yeah.
Makes sense because this final chicane is so narrow that you cannot go through there side by side. You will crash, and in the name of getting a good start. I mean, we didn't really talk about Road America last week, Finney, but what a disaster that was. That didn't go so well. So maybe trying to clean things up here this week as the field rolls out of the final corner. Alessandrini is in command. And green flag, we're racing at Circuit Magny-Cours. 30 minutes on the board, 19 laps already. Richard Sawicki making moves in the background, and he's the first driver to be side by side into turn 1.
Yeah, I didn't realize they're going to take the start single file. I thought they're going to double file up after the chicane. So single file started this race. Kevin 2 immediately working around Ryan Carwell. Got a great launch in his car. So immediately up to 60 will go. Single file for nearly everyone else to head on the straightaway.
Yeah, front dozen or so are pretty sorted. Here's Francois Brou and Robert Brunner. They're battling back here for about 12th place, side by side into the hairpin. It'll be a braking duel down there. And hearing that Tala Sadiq had a VR crash.
Whoa.
And speaking of crash,
Kevin zoom into the back of Jack Chrissy. Around he went in the hairpin.
That is no fun this early in the race. Oh, Jack had locked up also, and so did Kevin. They just tangled up together. Unfortunate for Chris, he had a decent qualifying effort, and he'll have to spend the whole race digging back from that. Big lunge up the inside on Brunner on Brou, and into this decreasing radius hairpin. And here comes Chrissy now.
Yeah, just trying to rebound back, trying to make up those lost spots after dropping way down the order. Trying to make a move on Francois Brou. Can't quite get alongside anywhere to make a move. Side by side up ahead, Richard Sawicki, Albert no through one of the chicanes. I was surprised they were able to make a move. And no under attack with Blackman trying to look up the outside.
Yeah. It seems like Sawicki didn't get a very good qualifying effort, but his race pace is very good. He's up a handful of spots on the opening lap from 12th to 6th, so he is on a mission. And we'll see how far he can climb. But definitely his qualifying pace is not matching his pace at the moment, though.
No, definitely not. If anything, it's the best thing to have is at least you go up in the race. As they work through to complete lap 1, Alessandrini ahead of Pilota by just a couple tenths of a second, and then Ken Alceel lurking in the background about a second behind.
Pilata's keeping Alessandrini in touch here, 0.2 of a second back. These two have gone back and forth over and over and over again this season, but Pilata's had a hard time staying out front ahead of him. I'm not sure if he'll sit in behind and learn some things, or if he'll go for a pass. Here comes the pass to driver's left into the hairpin, though.
He's fancy to try to make a move, make the attempt, and will still be side by side. A switch back. Here comes Plata. He's got a bit of a better run. He's on the more preferred side into the next chicane. I don't think DJ's going to be able to do anything on that outside.
He's going to thought he was going to try to go through there side by side, but he thought better of it. He'll concede it for now. And Pilata leads this race. There was a bit of 3 wide into the hairpin for this group. Brou, Alessi, and Jack Chrissy. As the 6 is still trying to make a comeback here, but he's struggling to make ground.
Oh, actually, it was contact. Lewis Alessi and Jack Chrissy. They actually hit wheels, and Chrissy went a little bit airborne into the hairpin. So
that explains that.
Things got a little bit too exciting.
And
things are getting exciting up here again.
Yeah, Ken Alceel locking up. That'll be a costly lockup there for the 23, but trying to keep in touch with these front two. And Pilata's actually put some distance on Alessandrini. Not a lot, but 0.4 of a second. That's kind of double the lead that DJ had for the opening lap.
Yeah, we'll see how it closes back in, though. DJ trying to close back in here as they approach the front straightaway again. Once they head into the back straightaway, up into the hairpin at Adelaide. That's where these guys are going to really want to be as close as humanly possible. We saw that
big slide over the curb for one car. That was, I think, Brunner.
Yes.
Holy cow.
We'll save it somehow as he went for a wild slide.
Man, that'll...
Oh man, the curb launched the car.
Yeah, you have to be so precise through there. And the slightest slip. And those curbs, they're not any taller than any other curb that you'll drive on, but they're so sharp. That's the only way I can describe them. They just start and stop so abruptly that if you don't clip it with a tire and instead you let the bodywork clip it, it is a rough ride. But Alessandrini's back on Pilata.
You guys are lucky we don't have the 3D curbs here. That would be a really rough ride with some of the curbing around here.
Give it time. Side by side back here, Brackman and Brou.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle of who's going to win out. Game of chicken, and it's going to be Kevin 2 that'll win out over Brackman.
Brackman going to try to keep in touch with Zoo here through the tight corner as the rest of the field. Still a pretty interesting fight back here between Brunner, Alessi, and Chrissy.
Yeah, they'll be going back and forth back here as a couple of drivers have been making some mistakes. Other drivers have been taking the opportunity. Lewis Alessi, they're currently last place at the moment, but still quite a few cars up ahead of him that he can get through.
You even saw there, that's a pretty flat, smooth curb that normally you can drive right over. But you heard the car kind of skate. Tires probably weren't even really touching the ground there. skateboarding across it. What's the rail that they ride skateboards on?
Half pipe?
No, but you know what I mean. Like when they grind on the.
Yeah.
Yeah. That. Oh, Brunner.
Whoa.
Off.
Around the, oh, this is before the chicane too. Penultimate corner.
Let's see what happens here if he just got the nose turned in and the rear end stepped out. Yeah, just got in there hot. And these things will default to oversteer if you charge the corner too hard. They don't really have the downforce to solidify the rear. Here comes DJ now, driver's left to Pilata. This is for the race lead. But yeah, if you stand the thing up on the nose, there's not enough rear downforce to compensate for the lack of grip out there. And DJ not able to complete the pass on Pilata.
Yeah, not this time, though. Got a really decent opportunity to do so. He's going to switch back to the inside. Going to have a wheel established. He's going to back out of it, not quite enough alongside to make a move. So DJ backs out and back into second place. They're still actually maintaining the gap to Ken Alceel. Alceel not really able to catch up and interfere with these two. Not sure that's on purpose or not.
Yeah, it's kind of been the story of the season, though, hasn't it? Pilata and DJ just kind of stepping away and Ken just clinging to them as they navigate their event as they chase each other through the chicane. And towards the end of the lap, Francois Bru's got trouble now.
Looks like he went off the track. I don't see damage to that car, and I think this is exactly what we've seen before.
Yeah, same spot.
Left-hander and a lazy spin around.
Yep. And Ken Alceel has just lost his spot to Adam Koback.
I think we were talking about his struggles.
Slow down, I think. Yeah.
No, he went off the track, actually. Yeah, he went wide in that final chicane, in the back part of the track.
Yeah, this is the corner we saw him lock up into before.
Yeah, and he made a mistake here, went in a little bit too hot, locked up again, went into the gravel. And we'll lost spot Adam Kovac, who he's trying to chase down now, heading through the first series of corners.
Albert, no, and Kevin Zhu, that was dicey through turn one. That's not a corner you can typically go side by side in. Even though these things are small, they still require some space to race. Here comes DJ now again. He's going to sweep to the inside, sweep back to the left. He wants the lead back and almost committed to a line I don't think he could have held down here at the hairpin.
So might get a decent run off the corner, though he's going to be almost in a dead heat drag race with Andrew Pilata heading down through the next chicane, heading to the Nürburgring chicane.
Who gives? Nobody. Oh, man, how do you do that? Pilata pulls ahead again. That was excellent.
Really tough battling between these two. Pilata just going to win out by showing that neither driver wants to give up unless they really have to. So the battle's still really hot for first and even now for third. Kovac and Ken Alceel, they're nose to tail as well.
Yeah, the battles at the tail of the field have begun to cool off. The ones at the front are heating up. Going through the Nürburgring chicane side by side like that is a dicey maneuver. I don't know how many times you can do that, even with the skill level these guys up front possess. Saw it go wrong last week at Road America. Had a much bigger track nonetheless.
I was going to say, so much racetrack and still hate each other.
Yeah, well, you can only get lucky so many times. Use all the rumble strip. That's all fair game here. Typically, track limits would be assessed by the edge, the outside edge of the curbing. Even the really wide curbs, you get that leniency. Now Seals back on Kovac right through the middle of turn one. That's hard to see where you're turning in.
Oh, he almost hit that his front wing to the rear tires of Kovac. He's going to go to the inside here to the large right-hander. He's actually going to take some grass as well. Took a really tight line around the corner and will still be just alongside Kovac. Drag race for them.
And for the lead, here comes DJ again.
Into the hairpin they shall go. Who will end up in front? Ooh, DJ looks like he got a much better run that time. I think he might have enough to get past Pilata here.
Will Pilata concede it, though? He's got the wing still clinging. He's now cleared. Nope. Alessandrini takes the lead back. Wow.
Really hoping these two stay nose to tail like this. Is going to be an entertaining battle to the end of this race.
Yeah, they've chosen that straightaway in the run-up to the Nürburgring chicane as kind of their battle zone. But DJ just showed you can make a pass on the outside, but he had to really commit hard to the braking zone to get that done. Let's have another look again from high above. Watch how hard DJ has to drive off. This is the wrong group of cars. Watch how hard DJ has to drive off into the corner. He's the car on top. Look at that lunge. He takes a pretty wide line, but he gets on throttle early enough that Pilata was pinched off and didn't really have the ability to get back on power.
Yeah, I think that's what DJ and even for that matter Andrew needs to realize, that you can really defend a lot just at the exit of that corner, kill the runoff your competitor and get the run down to the Nürburgring chicane and execute the pass by then. We'll see now. Pallotta's going to be the attacker. Alessandrini the attackee.
Ride the rumble strips all the way down the straightaway. Wait till those are properly built. That'll rattle your steering wheel.
That would definitely rattle your cage.
Yeah. Whoa, big wiggle by Alessandrini. That was uncharacteristic. Let's see if Pallotta can get back on power, if DJ just had his feet commanding the direction of the car just to get it to rotate. But even still, Pallotta's probably a little too far back to have a run here into the hairpin.
Yeah, it really helps with some of these open wheel cars. You just stab the brake a little bit to get the car to kind of force the nose. We got to be so careful with the rear end in this car. Like we see, it's very free back there. Pallotta not able to get close enough to Alessandrini. He'll have to stay single file through the hairpin this time through and remain in second place. But you got to be very careful the way you point this car, because it could definitely bite you, as we see Ken Hausil and Kobach in the background coming on through. Hausil about a second clear of Kobach, just out of that slipstream range.
Yeah, Alessandrini got gets such a good run leaving the hairpin there. Yeah, is that Adelaide? That's not what that corner's called? Yeah. It's a great run on corner exit. Louis Alessi and Robert Brunner are exchanging spots for 12th back here.
Yeah, it looks like Brunner has gone on through ahead of Alessi, so all 13 cars running.
We've seen some car-to-car, but not significant enough to take anybody out of the race. The only retirement would technically be Tal Sadiq from a hardware-related issue. I've heard some VR crashing this week with the new Week 13 update, so I'm sure that'll get fixed or patched eventually, but no fun when it happens to you. Here into the chicane again. Pallotta's losing ground on DJ here. This has kind of been the story of the season, as Pallotta can grab the lead for a couple of laps, but then struggles to stick on the coattails of DJ once he gets the lead back.
Yeah, we'll see if he can kind of ride it behind. And we saw, even though DJ made a mistake right here through the right-hander, he was able to still keep ahead of Pallotta. Had that much of a gap now, just about 0.4 of a second. Might be close enough.
Watch the different lines through here. They make the left-hander into one. Watch DJ. He's going to flip that left curb. Watch how far he tracks out. You see how Pallotta doesn't track out that far? So DJ is compromising the center of the corner to build a better run on exit. And I don't think Pallotta is using enough of the racetrack there. And that's helping DJ scamper away a bit.
I think we might also see Pallotta maybe try to get a little bit offline to get some cleaner air to the nose of the car, because I mean these cars don't have a lot of aerodynamics parts to work with, but what little they do want to get that clean air. Yeah, but I think you will benefit from copying a little bit more of DJ's line.
You see left front tire on the curbing there just to try to help it rotate. Move the grip from the inside tire and apply it on the outside tire to act like a differential into the next chicane, and here into this tight right-hander, which has been Ken Hausil's nemesis tonight, but Pallotta's been pretty good through here. About halfway through this race as well.
That chicane we just went through is the Imola chicane.
Thank you.
No problem.
Damon,
a lot of other racetrack names for corners.
I feel like, not to bring up a controversial topic, but I feel like racetrack's leaning on other racetrack names for its components. I feel make your own thing, right?
Yeah, I guess the right-hander gets what it's called. Without looking.
The right-hander?
Yeah.
Is it in French at least?
I mean, is the track in France?
Yes. Oh, I guess
no.
I suppose by default it would be in French, wouldn't it?
It's not. I don't think it is.
Here's Richard Sawicki up to 5th place from his starting spot of 12th. He's got Ryan Carwile hot on his heels there in the 71.
Yeah, he's trying to catch back up, trying to see if he can make a move down the straightaway into the hairpin. He actually backs off of it because I think he felt he wasn't close enough to make a move. This is, however, side-by-side battle. Here's Jack Chrissy, Albert No. Chrissy just going to nose his car ahead, but it's going to be a matter who's going to try to outbrake the other. Chrissy going to go a little bit deeper to the corner and park on the apex. He will get on through up to 8th.
Still the closest battle on the racetrack for the moment, as Pallotta is just clinging to the draft here, 4/10 back from Alessandrini. But I fear that as soon as DJ can break that draft with him, it might be game over here. Pallotta was a little quicker last time, but with that toe helping, he's really hot. That's a big slide. He's driving this car very hard right now, Finian.
I'm not surprised. I mean, it takes a lot to try to keep up with DJ, so it requires a lot of work. The big thing, though, is make sure you don't overheat your tires. That's definitely a big issue you can have. We saw with DJ burning up his tires in previous events, and that costing them a little bit towards the end of events. Still usually able to make it on through, but just something to consider in the back of your mind as they go on through to complete another lap. And as we approach the corner again, the corner's name is Escro, which is a track in Portugal.
Yeah, and so is Adelaide, for that matter. Next, that's the hairpin corner. As we continue to circulate here, we got about 10 laps to go, 14 minutes left on the clock as these front two continue to do battle. Sawicki and Carwile 0.3 apart. Alessi and Brew, they are half a second apart. Down into the braking zone here. These two continue to chase each other. Just been interesting to watch, how hard you have to drive these things at times. Kind of driving them on the edge, sliding them around. I think that's what makes them so fun. That sounds like Alessi might have had a problem.
Oh yeah, he's way off the pace in at least on that last lap, and I think it was in the last few corners here. The penultimate corner, we were way off into the gravel, and he is lucky it was not wet because he would have gone flying off into that barrier very quickly.
Hey, the gravel works now very well, at least.
Yeah, I've actually gotten myself nearly beat you when it comes to speaking of wet weather again. In the wet grass and the wet gravel, I've almost gotten the car beat. It's like taking me almost like a solid 30 seconds to a minute to get the car back out.
Rain is topic du jour, so it just happens to be that way.
I was gonna say it's honestly kind of weird to look at a race the dry. I've been mostly
I know, it's been
weather
every video
sessions.
I've seen in the last week has been rain. And like not even a little bit. It's like torrential downpour to test the puddling and stuff. But big curb jumps here for Pilata. 13 minutes left on the clock, and how much longer can he sustain driving this car this hard? We had a long talk because of the new tires, the wet weather tires, about how much load these little formula cars really put into the road and how much heat they can put in. You can be a little bit more aggressive on these cars because they don't have a lot of weight to throw around, so you're not necessarily going to destroy your tires. You'll heat them up eventually, but you can get away with a couple laps of aggressive driving.
That being said, you have to be very careful and kind of finesse them because you could very easy to loop them around. As you look at Pilata looking up the outside, they dive for him. First attack we've seen on him for a while, but Alcindrini defending that inside lane, he will skate on through.
Yeah, and I think if Pilata wants to make that move on the outside, he has to really commit.
Back in behind for fifth, Sawicki and Carwile. They're heading to the Adelaide hairpin, and Carwile going to throw it up the inside. He will secure the spot.
Nicely done. Nice, easy pass. And Sawicki going to try to have a return battle here, but I don't know that he's got enough of a run to pull alongside before the Nürburgring chicane. But
this is a really tough place to make a pass.
Yeah, that hairpin is one of those corners, just like the bus stop at the Glen or at Daytona. That corner is a place that you race to, not race through. So you kind of have to concede it if you want to get the best run through the corner. That's why it was so notable that Alcindrini took the lead on the outside, because he was able to carry momentum around a much wider arc than Pilata did. Even if you don't get a great run, you're going such a shorter distance on that inside. As long as you can protect the over-under, you can usually come out on top regardless.
These guys will go through the final chicane and back to start another lap, as we've got just about under 12 minutes remaining in this race and 9 laps to go, now 8 laps to go on the scoring estimated. Working their way on through Pilata. That one attempt, he's actually pretty close here. The big, again, through Estrel is really what we've been seeing. And now you see him running a little bit closer to DJ's line, trying to get a better run on the exit. DJ off track by a while. And here comes Pilata now with a better run.
Yeah, this is going to be the run. I think he has to take this and probably has to complete this pass here. He's going to use all his tire. If he can hold DJ to the right, he might have an opportunity. DJ's going to try to pressure him over to the left, side by side down here into Adelaide. There's Pilata later on the brakes. DJ takes a very short line, but Pilata didn't get back to throttle soon enough, and he'll have to tuck back in line. That's why it's critical. When you drive in there deep, you have to commit to that wider line so you can get back on power at the right time. Here's Sawicki back on Carwile, who does not defend.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Carl didn't defend. It allowed Sawicki to get the better run through, and similar to what we saw just there, Carl gets a better run on the exit, but I don't know if he's going to have enough for a run back to the chicane. He actually backs out of it, so he's going to stay in behind. So swap for position there for fifth, same order for the lead.
Like Brunner has gone to the pit lane, perhaps for a repair or something. He's turned to the racetrack at this point. So battles for fifth and battles for first with 7 laps to go. Pilata is close, and if he can keep this proximity at least next lap by, DJ's been very good about protecting that inside, but think back to what DJ did earlier when he looked left and then swung back to the right very quickly. He didn't commit to it, but he could have, and maybe Pilata should try that back on him.
One thing DJ has got to be careful though. I think he's been getting a little bit too free in Estoril. He's been going a little bit too far on the track out and almost bit him there. He caught a bit of the gravel on the exit, and if you're not careful, he can easily loop the car around. So I think he might be pushing the car a little bit too much in this corner, trying to keep ahead of Pilata. A more tighter line that time.
Yeah, and I think Pilata's a little too far back. 3/10, 2.5. I think if you're within 2/10 when you enter this straightaway, I think you've got an easy opportunity here. But he'll get to him, but not through him here. As Sawicki's got problems, we'll check in on that as Pilata tries to do the over/under there on DJ. That didn't work so well. Let's find out what happened to Sawicki.
He's heading into the entry into Estoril and just went in a little bit too hot around she went.
Yeah, stood it up on the nose and lost her grip. Was able to get out of the gravel, thankfully, because it didn't sink in.
Oh, Laka for Pilata.
Yeah, struggling to get that thing down. Again, I don't think that'll hurt you all that badly as long as it doesn't make you deviate your line or slow you up on your power input. You can kind of drag the fronts around on these things without too much penalty. Kenau Seals spun out of third.
Yeah, he spun around in similar corner we saw in an earlier issue with Francois Brou.
Yeah, exact same scenario, but he was in there way hot.
Yeah, he went way hot, was on the outside line in the marbles and in the dust and dirt, and around he went. You can see right there how much dirty that line is, and around it went on him. He will stay in third, but Adam Kobach's returned and within a couple tenths of a second.
Go back about 6/10 back. Lead is 4/10 between these two. About 6 laps to go. 8 minutes and 25 seconds. Could be 5 laps. So have to keep an eye on that time because we could get 5 instead. It's a long lap here, relatively. Minute 38 around. I mean, what's the distance of Magny-Cours?
It is 2.74 miles.
It's so interesting because there's a lot of racetracks that in the U.S. that are right around 2.25 miles. And they all run roughly 1 minute 37, 1 minute 40 lap times. And Laguna Seca, Gingerman Raceway, and Mid-Ohio produce almost exactly the same lap times, which I think is very interesting. I was just curious because we're running those lap times. We're in cars that are faster than your typical track day car, but it's interesting to know. Another lock up there by Pilata chasing Alessandrini around.
He's been locking up a little bit more, which is just a little bit concerning. When you start to lock up once, you lock up a little bit more, and then, of course, if you start locking up with what they added to the tire model in iRacing, is that you'll lock up on the same bit of tire, it'll make that even worse.
That was a good braking zone for Pilata.
Yeah, it was a really good run. Unfortunately, it's not going to be close enough to make a move down here in the next series of corners. Looking at this battle between Carlisle and Kevin Zhu. Nose to tail. Whoa!
Oh, got a sausage curb there as well. They're both a little wide. Zhu is quicker to the brakes. Carlisle's wide, and here comes the opportunity for Kevin.
Yeah, I didn't realize how close these two are, and now this is going to be an interesting run here into the penultimate corner. Zhu a little bit more alongside, but Carlisle a much better run into the corner. I think Zhu's going to have to back out. He tries to dive in.
Side by side, this is not going to work. Who concedes? Carlisle. Zhu's through to 5th.
Yeah, well, Carlisle, though, if he can stay close and he's recuperating through the next few corners, has a chance to fight back, heading down to the Adelaide hairpin.
First corner so fast, and then it leads you into Estoril, which is this fast right-hander. This is a blast of a corner to drive. Love this turn. It just leaves you enough on exit that you can commit earlier and earlier and earlier. Doesn't feel compromising in any way. But Carlisle might have a run here.
He might have a run. It's going to be a late move if he makes it, and because of that, he backs out.
Smart decision there. Next lap, though. Send it. I'm just kidding. Pilata's backing off. I love the French commentary in the background as well. That's a new feature for this track, at least. And there was also a floating tire stack that they finally removed.
I was going to say, I never noticed where it was.
Oh, yeah.
I always hate when they change it because it's like, oh, where was it?
Well, it was in the air. You could see it when you're running through Estoril. I was on triple screen, so it was always there for me. And if you're on a single screen, you would have never seen it. It was so high. It was like 500 feet in the air.
Oh.
Yeah, it was way up there. But it was there since release. So, 4 laps to go, and, well, it might be less than that. 5 minutes on the clock. And a lot of the rumble strips are just, look at how much he's cutting that first turn. Left side in the dirt.
Yeah, he's really playing around with track limits there.
Hauseil's had another problem. Kovac's up to 3rd, and here's why.
Oh, it's a lot of mistakes for Ken Hauseil in this race.
Yeah, this is a tricky racetrack. It's a fun one, but it's easy to make mistakes, especially in a lightweight car, where you can't really feel the weight transfer as much as in a heavier car like a GT.
Okay, here comes Ryan Carlos. Got a great run into the hairpin here. Depends which side Kevin is going to pick to defend. He's staying in the middle of the track and actually giving Carlisle the inside.
I like this.
Big surprised by that.
These guys have been giving each other the line all night long, and it's reminded me of one of my
in the overshoot.
Yes, one of my my racer buddies has said that the only thing you do by defending your racing line is you're keeping yourself from having a great race, which perhaps is not the winner mindset, but it is a racer mindset. I was going to say. You want to race or do you want to win? Those are two different things.
Yes. You can race or you can have fun. You can't have both.
You can be a loser and race. Absolutely. But Andrew Pilata tracking DJ back down. That was a little bit of a sharp turn in there. DJ's just got a really nice line through here, and Pilata had to take a bit of a compromise. 3 minutes and 30 seconds. That should be 2 to go, yeah?
I think so.
It's going to be close.
Yeah, it's gonna be really close. I can assure you that.
Well, we will wait.
Actually, no, they will just have enough for 3.
3, really?
Yeah, they'll get by with like 10 seconds remaining.
Oh, good. That Chrissy and Carlisle, they.
Oh, Carlisle is around.
Yeah, this has been a tricky lap. The tires are all hot from that lockup earlier in the lap, and cracks out, gets on the rumbles, turns in, and he's going to hop the curbs.
Oof.
That's a wild ride from Chrissy's perspective, too. He's got to see all that out the cockpit.
Yeah, turned into a 3-way battle for 5th there for a second, and as they're heading through the chicanes, what Chrissy saw.
Just picks it up and chucks it like a kid dissatisfied with his toys. And Hauseil back on Kovac here.
Whoa, I was just looking at for the lead. DJ a little bit loose on the exit, and that's allowed Pilata to get right up to his rear wing.
Different area of the racetrack that he's had an opportunity before. I don't think he's got really anywhere to go with it, though. Big understeer. You can see trailing this close to DJ, struggling with the nose, getting the thing to point.
And again, going back to the line to be close, but it should be 2 laps to go.
So here they come. 1:59 left on the clock now. They need 1:38 left. Yeah, they are going to get there. 2 laps to go. They have a 17-second advantage over Ken Hauseil. If they wanted to end this race, this next lap, they could have. Here's Chrissy and Zoo trading spots for 5th.
Yeah, Chrissy much better run than Kevin Zuzu had a lockup. That's allowed Chrissy to get on through, and will still remain on through as they head back into the start-finish.
Oh, there it goes. I saw that one coming as soon as he turned in.
You could tell when they turned a little bit too much, a little bit too early, and clipped a little bit too much curb.
Damn, right? It's always the first curb because it shoots you straight. And if you mess up that first curb, it just carries you into the second. And there's not really a lot you can do. Once you're off the ground on curb 1, you're already looking at that curb 2.
Oh, and that's allowed Zoo and Carl to resume their battle, just one position behind.
Yeah. These two have just been around each other all night long. They've been having a great race, though, these two. I bet they'll be smiling after this. Maybe face palming, but smiling. Here comes Carlisle.
See, Carlisle, we saw last time he was doing this, he overshot the chicane's going to break maybe a little bit too cautiously. He'll just get on through. Zoo still fighting that outside. Oh, here comes Zoo with a big run back on the straightaway now. We'll be side by side heading to the Nürburgring chicane.
Ooh, watch the tires, boys. I love this. Side by side into the chicane. No way.
And Zoo going to cut the corner. That's going to be a slowdown for him.
Well, he'll just have to delete that slowdown from iRacing's existence and not tell anybody about it. Kevin is an iRacing crew member and probably could sneak something like that under the radar.
Oh, I'm sure he's enjoying this a bit of a break because he's been very busy this week.
Oh, I bet he has been. Yeah, QA during a rain as the leaders take the white flag. Yeah, this has got to be a hell week for dev staff here. All right, Pilata's going to have an opportunity. I pushed a little bit. I thought he had a decent gap to DJ. He's still going to have an opportunity, I think, but he's going to have to do a pretty big send.
He really wishes he had DRS.
Yeah.
Give him that overspeed to make a move. He's going to look to the outside. Going to be alongside Alessandrini, but heading to the corner. Oh, he tries to switch back.
Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad, but not enough.
No. Zoo and Carwile trying to steal the show again. Yeah.
They were side by side entering turn 1.
All right, let's see what Pilata's got here. He's running out of passing opportunities. Little sketchy moment there. Big slide mid-corner. Does not have the cornering grip that DJ has.
So meanwhile, Carwell and Zoo side by side heading into the hairpin.
They really want the cameras tonight, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. They've been having a great battle so far this race. Carwell going to keep it nice and tight. We'll shoot out of Kevin Zoo.
Last couple of corners for the race leaders. DJ Alessandrini trying to snag another race win here, but Pilata is close. I just don't think he's got anything left.
He killed his momentum. He ran wide and was on the throttle a little bit too hard on the exit.
Last 2 corners, big lunge from Pilata, but no dice. Checkered flag. Last chicane, if they can get through in one piece. Big hop for DJ. He slides, but he crosses the checkered flag and will win here at Circuit Magny-Cours. That is not the checkered. It's the one previous to that, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the one exiting the corner.
So DJ wins. Pilata second. Kenhouse Seal. Troublesome race, but he'll snag a podium regardless.
They're probably going to be happy the way he ended up in third. But
Whoa!
Let him come back right across the line almost. He'll come up in fourth, Jack Chrissy.
And Carwile all by his lonesome now. He'll finish 6th, Kevin Zoo 7th, and then Albert No and Richard Sawicki. This battle's still going on.
Well, it's going to come down to it. Sawicki trying to see if he can get past No. Just has to park in here and hold on for one more corner.
Last chicane, they crash. Slide across the line. Who gets it?
I think Sawicki got him with the
Sawicki,
back end of his
4,000ths
car.
of a second. Are you kidding me?
He got him with the back end of his car.
Oh my gosh. How about that?
That's impressive. I've never seen a finish like that.
I mean, he barely got him. Oh, that is.
He spun faster around.
The circumstances are unfortunate, but that is awesome. Woo! And he grabs it with the rear wing by 4 1,000ths. I couldn't even prove that to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I was going to say, as you can imagine, I didn't set up, a photo finish camera. We wouldn't expect a finish like that here.
I mean, he's there. That is wild. Anyway, race complete. Let's have a look at our race results here before we sign off here for the evening. Let's have a look-see at who finished where. Alessandrini up at the point. No surprises there. Andrew Pilata in second, then Kenhouse Seal third. Kobach, Chrissy, Carwile, Zoo, Sawicki, No, and Brackman, the rest of your top 10, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're heading down to the next page of finishers. Francois Brou, then you got Robert Brunner, Louis Leslie, really the last of the finishers in the race. Tal Sadiq, of course, not able to start due to technical difficulties, so finishing back in 14th, and Catherine's not starting the race as well. But for the most part, actually had quite a few finishers compared to what we started with. Not that many people running to some issues for a very technical track. A couple of mistakes here and there, but nothing permanent.
Yeah, let's have a chat with DJ Alessandrini, who beats Andrew Pilata out by a couple tenths of a second. You pass him on the outside in the hairpin to get the pass done back on him after he stole it from you early on. But he kept you honest in this one, DJ, and probably had you sweating a couple times in the last handful of laps.
Oh, dude, I'm tired, man. I'm literally exhausted right now. We were both pushing so hard. That draft on the straight was really powerful, but it was hard to turn it into a pass. But yeah, I was just pushing so hard, so he wouldn't even get an attempt at it, just to kind of, mostly for safety, just because, you know, net code and mistakes being side by side in a tight hairpin. So if I could avoid the overlap, then I would try. But yeah, I was pushing super hard, like the whole race, and I'm exhausted. I think if my head hit a pillow right now, I'd literally fall asleep.
Well, you got some other racing going on later tonight I'm sure you're excited for. Is this the first time, be honest, is this the first time in a handful of days that you've driven in the dry?
Correct.
Yeah, I figured that'd be the case. What's your thoughts on it? We've gotten some opinions from across the virtual paddock. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's I think the visuals, like if you ignore the visuals of it and just go, it's a wet track, it's like 80% there, which is like really good, especially compared to any other game or sim or whatever. The one thing that it's missing is there's like a gradient of grip from the dry line, and right now it seems like it's just wet or dry line. There's no like gradient in between there. Like for instance, like normally the edge of the racetrack just has like a ton of grip. Like it's like you'll be sliding where it looks like you're gonna go off the track, and then it catches last second on the very edge, and that just doesn't happen like it does in real life. You just kind of just slide off in like a slow, lazy spin.
So my first experience in the rain, I took out the GR86 at Mid-Ohio because it's the only track that I've been at speed in the rain because of you, actually. And because I remember where all the rain water was, and I remember sliding out to the edge of the carousel where you said, uh-oh, and I didn't like that very much when you were driving. But I gave that a go. And yeah, I think there's obviously some things to tweak, but I thought my initial impressions were pretty good, and it felt pretty familiar. I thought the only thing my experience was at Mid-Ohio was it was not as slippery as I felt like it should be, knowing how slippery Mid-Ohio is. So I know there's tweaking left, but it's fun.
Yeah, but Mid-Ohio now has new pavement, so it's actually probably in line with what it's going to feel like.
That is true, yeah. That's a good point. But DJ, thanks a lot. Oh, go ahead. You can finish.
Yeah. So there's another thing. So visual cues is the weakest point of it right now. Like where the wet and the dry, like as it's a drying track, that's missing a lot. Also, the raindrops, like just, maybe it's my graphic settings, but it looks like it's like a blizzard. And then there's one other thing. Oh, the sheen of the track and patches of new pavement don't act like they do in real life, but it's a good foundation. I'm excited to see where they go with it.
Yeah, all good, DJ. A lot of fun. I can't wait to watch racing in the rain as well. I'm excited for the impact on my broadcast because I get to talk about something other than the race being the same all the time. So I'm stoked for that. But congratulations on the win.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
And go have fun. You picking VIR as your rain track for the GT3s? You are a sick man.
I'm driving in the rain at VIR this weekend. It's supposed to rain on Saturday.
Okay. Well, I mean,
getting practice.
I guess that's good.
Exactly.
Of all the evilest tracks to pick, that is the one. So,
yep.
Haha, indeed. DJ, thanks for talking. Congratulations. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Adios. Whoops, sorry, Finian, I dragged you out because DJ bailed on us. Well, and Ken Alciel joins us now. Let's talk to Ken in the number 23, finishes third. Ken, a little interesting today for you. A couple slides and spins and lockups and things, but still come home on the podium. How was that? This track's a lot of fun, it looks like.
Yeah, really fun. The little bits of elevation change here and there is like you come up over a crest and you lose the brakes you thought you had, or one lap you brake a little later and it works better. It's like it's really, really tricky. As you could see, I had a few incidents.
Yeah, and I know the topic of the day and the week has been rain. So while this race was pretty interesting up front and behind you, you kind of had a no man's land race for a little bit of it. I want to hear your opinion though on the rain because we just talked to DJ and says it's about 80% good. Some things to tweak. Your thoughts on it after playing around with it yesterday?
Yeah, a few little things here and there to tweak. I tested the F4 cars in the rain against the AI, and the spray is terrifying. The big thing I'd say is it's tough to tell the difference between full dry and just like damp.
Yeah.
And that's something to tweak where like in real life you see the ground is dark and you see a dry line appear, or even just like it's very obvious when it's damp enough to matter. So that's something to tweak, but I think overall, really, really fun.
Yeah, super fun. My thoughts exactly between the damp and the dry sort of situation. But a lot of fun, Ken. Thanks for talking, and we'll see you next week at the next track.
Yeah, thanks. See you guys. Should be a fun one.
All right, Finney, and that will wrap things up here for the evening. Magny-Cours, fun racetrack. I can't wait, though, for next week and the weeks beyond. I don't know, good time here in France, and DJ grabs another one, but I like this place. I always have, and I think we're due for some more great racing at the upcoming tracks.
Oh, we definitely are, and we're looking forward to seeing what the rest of the season has in store, especially with the threat of rain on the horizon.
Oh, it's coming. Here comes Tempest, the storm of your nightmares. Next couple of weeks, we'll see you. Washington, D.C. Region SCCA Virtual Racing League. If you'd like to find out more, visit the region's website to join and join us in these Formula 4s. Before we take the summer off to go racing in the real world, we'll see you at the racetrack. We'll see you here in iRacing next week. Kyle Heyer, Finney DeCuna. We'll see you next time.